Come on, BTC.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. It is the 22nd of July. It is 11 a.m. Central European Time, probably an awful lot later in Australia, where Peter is today. And wherever you are around the world, welcome back. It is a Monday. Normally, we do not have a lot to talk about on a Monday, but I don't know if you remember what happened last weekend. Well, something equally as big happened this weekend, and that is the title of the show today. Biden. We're going to go over the repercussions of Sleepy Joe stepping down. We have a lot to get through. A lot of optimism in Bitcoin. We're going to go through the new date for XRP. What's happening with Solana, Litecoin, Ton. What on earth is Eternal Flame? Well, we're going to find out when we get there. A few hellos. We have Bullish Bull in chat. We have Mags hidden as always. Peter is in chat. Chris is here. I hope you are all doing exceptionally well. Remember, if you're new here, smash the like button. Give us a follow. We are within probably 1,500 followers of 150,000 followers. And we may have a channel sponsor. But it is still breaking news. We will get to that eventually. Does Trump still win? Yes. Absolutely, Trump wins. I cannot see Kamala Harris possibly landing a glove on him, in all honesty. But what am I and who am I? So what we're going to go through first is, of course, we're going to go through the markets. Then we're going to have a look at some X-Files. There's a fair old few of them today. And then we're going to get into the news. It's been a good weekend. I made a couple of videos. I've made a video about what happens when the Ethereum ETF goes live tomorrow. Remember, somebody asked in the Telegram group today, is it exactly is going to happen tomorrow? I think there is a good chance that we possibly see some kind of downward action this week, but I'm only 30% certain of that. And I've made a video about it to try and explain why I think we could see some downward action. Where are we then? Bitcoin is coming in at just over $67,000. Ethereum is coming in just under $3,500. BNB just under 600. Look at Solana. Solana is starting to ramp up. Why do we think that is happening? Well, we've been saying it for a while. Once the Bitcoin ETF got approved, people moved on to Ethereum. The Ethereum ETF is going live tomorrow. What are people going to move on to next? They're going to move on to Solana. So expect to see the price action on Solana and all associated memes, all associated projects on the Solana ecosystem start to go up over the next 3 or 4 months. I am sick of people on YouTube saying various top 10 coins will 50x and certain memes are going to 100x. What a load of rubbish, misleading info. I think it's going to be very difficult for any top 10 coin to 50x, simply because their market caps are so ridiculously high already. If you take Solana, for example, where do I think Solana is going to go to from here? I think it will do a 5x, possibly, and that will be it. 6x will take you to $1,000. So a 5 or 6x. BNB. Is BNB going to go really any higher than maybe $2,000? Probably not. It's too big. Ethereum. Where do I think Ethereum is going to go to? Well, over time, because of the ETFs, I do expect it to go to 5 figures. $10, $12, $15,000. Absolutely. Never going to 50x. There isn't a coin in the top 10 that is going to 50x. And I will stake my reputation on that, because there really isn't enough money in the world to pump them that high. Sol will get to $1,000 because of the ETF money coming in. If it didn't have the ETF money coming in, I would say $600, which is a 3x from here. You've got to look at the market cap. It's at 80 billion. A 3x would put it to 240 billion. Well, 240 billion, believe it or not, is an awful lot of money. So again, I don't think that's going to happen. Anyway, let me have a look at the gainers and losers before we carry on. Celestia, I think I've given up on that coin pretty much. I highlighted the issues that I had with that coin at the time, and I said, I wonder what's going to happen to Celestia once the airdrop FOMO wears off. And remember, we were up towards $20 at that time, and now we are back at $7. Remember to look at the narrative of the chain. What was the narrative of Celestia at the time? Airdrops. People were farming airdrops. People had to stake Celestia. It's all done and dusted. We're at $7. Helium is up. Avalanche has had a really good weekend. Back over $30. Very, very bullish on that price. Dog with Hat is up $2.70. Doge is up just a touch. Mog, a lot of memes are gaining. Solana is in the top gainers, up over $174 was one of our resistance points. We're above that. Let's close above that, and then let's move on to the next targets. Multiverse is up, ICP just a touch. Losers, by the way, if you hear a lot of rattling in the background, we for some reason in the middle of July, we are blowing a gale outside. It was like 32 degrees yesterday. We now have a gale. Everything outside is rattling like a skeleton in a tin can. Arweave down 7%. ZK down 5%. Notcoin down 4%. Not really a lot of losers. Not really a lot to write home about. And not a lot to worry about. The weather has gone bonkers. Absolutely. It's gone crazy. I am going to keep an eye on chat. Tariq, I am looking at the coin you sent me today. I have a backlog. I'm going to look at the coin that you sent over to me. I'm going to look at it today. If Sol does well, will Ponk do well? Yes. So when the Ethereum ETF starts to kick off, hopefully it doesn't do what I've said in my video and it does start to move up. Every layer 2, every alt, every app on Ethereum, Uniswap, they are all going to do well. Solana is the same. If Solana starts to rip, everything on Solana will go with it. That includes Jupiter, Pyth, Camino, Ponk, Bonk, all of them. What do I say about Phantom moving to S and joining Sonic? Phantom moving to S and joining Sonic? I've never even heard of that. I'll have to look that up, Mags. I don't know anything about that. Let me make a note. Phantom we covered a few weeks ago, if you remember, and I was saying it was a dead chain. Because there's no revenue. I think what was the volume was about 20. They were making $25,000 a month in revenue. It's never going to survive. Now then, again, we talk about not chasing the narrative on this channel. We talked about Popcat before. It's gone up 117%. People FOMO in. What happens when people FOMO in? You become exit liquidity and the price comes crashing down. Expect the same to happen to Popcat. These coins that rip, you don't buy them on the rip. You buy them before the rip and then you sell them during the rip. It's easy to understand. The problem is, it's a little bit like having the One Ring. You're standing there in Mount Doom, you're going to throw it in and you think, I'm going to keep it. That's the problem. Don't keep it, sell it, take some profits. Again, I'm not going to go political on this channel. That is not what we do on here. But over the last 4 or 5 working days, we have seen lots of companies get rid of their DEI departments, their woke departments. Microsoft, Google, Apple, they're all binning them. Disney are getting rid of them. And Elon Musk has been talking about it. And he has said that wokeness gives mean people a shield to be mean and cruel. Wokeness is divisive, exclusionary, and hateful. It gives people a reason, gives them a shield, to be mean. At the end of the day, any kind of corrective action isn't corrective action. It's the wrong way to go about things. We've seen the problems that we have, and in crypto, we see a lot of divisiveness, and that's why I'm bringing that up. Divisiveness needs to be eradicated. And in crypto, you've got maxis on the left, maxis on the right. They don't agree on anything. They won't even talk to each other, and it's just going to end in tears. The Solana faithful have been rewarded for their patience as prices have broken out 33% since the 4th of July. The climb is fueled by crowd doubt towards Sol until FOMO replaces the FUD. $200 is very much reachable soon. We are going to talk about Sol later on, absolutely. I tried to get end-of-year financial statements from Coin. It shows buy, sell, supplies. Right, I've made a video about tax software, and it connects up to the exchanges that you are on, and it imports them. And I believe that there is a free version, which is why we made it. So if you go onto the channel and look for tax calculator, there is one on there, and it does multiple countries. It was actually Kishan that asked for it. So it will calculate your tax based on your location. I know for a fact it does Australia, it does India, it does all of them. So yes. Now then, this is the headline of the day, and that is Biden quits, expect volatility. We don't need to go through it, but Joseph R. Biden on July the 21st has said that they will not stand for the next election. They are stepping down. He is doing it for the benefit of the country, he says in his letter. He will speak to the nation and he will give his decision. Now, again, this would normally cause stocks, crypto, and the like to go into a downward spiral. Markets don't like uncertainty. However, this isn't going to affect the markets because the opposition is Trump. Trump is a former president of America. I don't expect too much volatility from the markets because everybody is throwing their weight behind Kamala Harris. And unfortunately, she's never going to win. She's never going to beat Trump. I think they probably had a better chance with Michael Obama. They probably had a better chance with Hillary Clinton. Certainly had a better chance with Robert Kennedy. Neither of those, or none of those three, have been picked, and they've gone with Kamala. I think it's a terrible choice, but there we go. Now, this would be absolutely astonishing for crypto, and that is Donald Trump is considering the BlackRock CEO, Larry Fink, as the Treasury Secretary. Now, BlackRock, think Bitcoin ETF, think Ethereum ETF, think Solana ETF, think Ondo, think of what is in the Treasury, the reserves. What do you think Trump is going to do? He's going to throw a few billy, as they say in America, at Bitcoin, lock it away, and the price of Bitcoin is going to skyrocket. If it becomes a national reserve of the United States of America, then Bitcoin is going to go parabolic and never come back. However, it's a big if. And remember, Donald Trump is a politician. He will say whatever you think is going to get him into the election. If you want all the cars in America painted orange, I'll paint them orange. If you want all the helicopters to have smiley faces on them or Homer Simpson faces on them, I'll do that. Elect me, okay? He's a politician. At the end of the day, he will go. Remember, he is speaking at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville this week. And Donald Trump, and I'm telling you now, listen to these words, Donald Trump is going to say at that conference that America is going to use Bitcoin as a national reserve asset. When he says those words, Bitcoin is going to break $70,000. I am telling you now, okay? You do with that information what you want. Is it going to hold 70,000? I don't know. Why is it going to break 70,000? Because when the future president of allegedly the biggest country in the world is going to pick Bitcoin as a reserve currency, people are going to buy it. It's going to drive the price up. It is as simple as that. The case is, when he's elected, is he going to follow through on it? Now, my chat is not updating, so I can barely see. Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of politicians these days become what's it called now? One issue politicians. Again, we don't want one issue politicians, do we? We want them to solve the problems in the world. Oh, typical. Okay, so basically what I need to tell you is that Bitcoins, we had a gap. Okay, we had a gap on the, let's just scroll these things down a little bit. We had a gap on the CME, and I said that we needed to close that today, and we closed it. We're down at 67.2. The gap is closed. We do not need to worry about the CME gap. So let's take that as a positive. There was a lot of people talking about going towards 69,000, maybe coming down to 66,000. We haven't done any of them. We have closed the gap. We don't need to worry about that for the rest of the week. So what is the CME gap? It's the price that Bitcoin closes at on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange on Friday. It closed at 67.5, and we closed it this morning. We don't need to worry about it anymore. Let us move on then. I'm going to try and stick to the plan today. I'm going to try and stick to getting through everything as best I can. Remember, if you're new here, smash the like button, say hello in chat. Let me know you're out there. I can see Peter, I can see Chris and Tariq and a few others. Say hello. So very optimistic Bitcoin price prediction by Mechanism Capital. Another one, another week goes by, another price prediction. Let's see why they predict this price. Bitcoin could reach a midterm price level above $1 million thanks to a series of hyper-bullish developments around the asset, according to Mechanism Capital. We'll call them MEC. From now on, shall we? So, Peter, right, okay, I need to actually interlude here. So, if we get the channel sponsor, we will be getting rid of adverts during the live streams. That's a given. So we will no longer have adverts. But until the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, we will not say anything anymore. But we've done the graphics. We just need to wait for the paperwork. And then we will have a channel sponsor, which we cannot wait for. So, $1 million. Andrew Kang wrote on Twitter, Bitcoin is performing stronger than expected despite several poor market dynamics. How fast? Let's have a think. Ads do pay us, but this sponsor is going to pay us innumerably more than the adverts. So, to improve the quality of the show, maybe we will put our own advert into the show. Maybe after half an hour, we'll run a 5-second, 10-second advert, something like that. And then we will have the livery on the screen as well. So we don't need them as much. They don't make us that much. They make us a few dollars a month. So we can get rid of them. But at the minute, you know, we have to tighten our belts. We've just come through the bear market. And we're not as big a channel as many others out there. So we have to just struggle along and keep running against the brick wall. And hopefully one day one of the bricks will fall out. So then, several rumors around Donald Trump said that Bitcoin will become a national reserve for the United States if he's re-elected. Whether or not this happens, we know pretty much. I'd still put my mortgage on him winning. I only have a very small mortgage, however, but I'd still put my mortgage on him winning. There are very plausible asymmetric midterm scenarios for $500,000, $1 million. Even if you have probabilities of that at 5 or 10%, Bitcoin here is very underpriced. I totally agree. He also cited rumors of a major Asian conglomerate potentially assuming a similar own to MicroStrategy. This is again bullish developments, come quicker than expected, but not complaining. Now, what I will say about this is there are some things that have happened this year that I have not expected, okay? Because, as I say to you every day, I do not have a crystal ball. So, the unexpected things that have happened so far this year is the Ethereum ETF going live tomorrow. I expected that to be March, April, May next year. So already I'm wrong. I expect Solana to be approved for an ETF next year. I'm going to be wrong on that as well. It's likely to be this year, especially given that they're going to try and push forward with their pro-crypto policy before the election. So I am going to be wrong. I know that. One thing I didn't expect is for America, especially Donald Trump, to come out and say it's going to be used as a national reserve. I was expecting that to be 5 or 6 years away. Why is it such a big thing? Because it won't just be America. Everybody will start to buy Bitcoin and hold it as a reserve to fulfill its destiny. What is Bitcoin's destiny? It is to hedge against inflation. The gold standard, which most countries ran on for years and years and years. What happened in 1971? We scrapped it. And what happened? Everything went to pot. Everything became more expensive year on year because we left the gold standard. So when we see people talking about Bitcoin, remember, it's not just going to be America. It will be Europe, it will be Asia, it will be Africa. If they remove, between them all, 5 million Bitcoin, a quarter of the supply of Bitcoin is gone. The ETFs hold another 1 million Bitcoin. They're gone. Satoshi's 1 million Bitcoin is locked up forever. We're never going to see that. And suddenly, a third of the entire supply of Bitcoin is gone. And then every millionaire in the world is going to want to own 1 Bitcoin. Well, guess what? There's not enough to go around. That's the point of it. So I'm not saying we're never going to see $1 million. I'm saying you need to temper your expectations on when that's going to happen. I think if we break 6 figures and get towards $200,000, $240,000 this cycle, I will be delighted. But again, I am likely to be wrong, as I always am. Will Solana go up under $150 again? No, I don't believe it will. Not if it gets an ETF. The reason being is if it gets an ETF and goes to $1,000, I can't see an 85% drawdown on Solana. The same with Ethereum and the same with Bitcoin. They will have drawdowns, of course. Everything has a drawdown in the bear market. But we don't know what happens to ETFs in a bear market because we've never seen it. So, what's a rule of thumb? If we go to $200,000 for Bitcoin, could we come back to $80,000? Yes, we could. What's that? A 60% drawdown. That's kind of where we might go to. So if Solana has a 60%, even a 70% drawdown, that would take us from maybe $1,000 to $300. I can't see an 85% drawdown for Solana if it gets an ETF. And that's the same for Ethereum. These people have diamond hands for as long as, you know, these are not degens. These are long-term holders, pension fund contributions. If 3% of most global funds are allocated to Bitcoin, do we honestly think it's going to come down? I can't see it. I think we're going to get to a price and then we might see 20-30% drawdowns on Bitcoin, 40% drawdowns on Bitcoin and the like. I don't see an 85% drawdown on any ETF asset. I just don't see it. Now, this is the chart that we drew last week. Remember, we put in lower highs along this line. That line is coming in at 70,600. Again, bottom right hand corner, $74,000 is the target. You all were laughing at me when I was telling you we can go up as fast as we came down. Now, I don't want to be I told you so, but we have pretty much come up as fast as we went down. And I said at the time that we would be back at these prices. And now you've been through it, what I want you to do, so everybody watching that panicked, I want you to remember how bad you felt. No, because that would be these, wouldn't it? That would be those. They would be my wobbly boobs. But no, I'm not drawing them today. I'm just pointing out, I mean, I don't know what the time frame was. That was the 6th of June to the 9th of July. So that was, let's call it 33 days. 33 days to move down 15,000. And we've gone up 12,000 in 2 weeks. Okay? So 33 days to move down, no time at all to move back up. And my line here, with my little arrow on, I'm going to leave here for a while. We need to break 70,500 to stop this. Because what we don't want to do is we don't want to start seeing this nonsense where we're putting in lower highs. We don't want that. We want higher highs. We don't want lower lows. But again, where are we? We are back above the bull market support band. Hallelujah. We came back up. And remember, there was all kinds of consternation. I was thinking that if we bounce off here, we could retest 61,000 before having another crack, and maybe we do this, but we didn't. What did we do? We smashed the back doors off it. That's what we did. We smashed the back doors off the bull market support band, and we closed the week above it. That is all we need. Could we see a retest? If we see a retest, what is it going to retest? It's going to retest 65.5. If we see a retest, we will do this. Given the ETF is going live, are we likely to see that? Probably not. Given that Donald Trump is going to start throwing words at Bitcoin in a few days' time, are we going to see that? Probably not. Are we going to break 70,000? Pretty much. 80% certain we're going to break 70,000 this week. Donald Trump just needs to speak at that conference and not say anything negative, and we're going to rip. Because everybody's now convinced he's won the election. Okay? And maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. We don't know for certain, but I'm pretty certain he's won the election. Pretty certain. How many blow-off tops will we have this bull run? Is it possible to get one in December? Everybody is predicting one in December because the end of October is when the miners normally stop selling. Once that happens, we should see. We could go into the end of the year at 90,000. We could then retrace to 75,000 in January and February. Then March, April, we might have another run up because that's the election year. Trump gets inaugurated in February. March, he comes out and says we're going to start buying Bitcoin. Then we have another blow off top. We might have a cooling off period in the summer, and then the final run up towards the end of next year. Everybody keeps talking about it being the end of the bull run is in December. It's never happened. It's never happened. It takes 18 months. 18 months from April 2024 is December 2025. It's worked the last 4 times. Doesn't mean it's going to work this time, but it's pretty much a certainty it's the end of next year rather than the end of this year. Now then, a question was asked. What happened to the Ripple lawsuit? And I think the person that asked me missed the stream. It got cancelled. So when the XRP price, let me bring up the XRP chart to show you what happened. I did only cover this last week, but we have a new date. So that's why I'm going back over it again. Because again, if you want to see real price action, you need to look for key events. Now, again, we saw, let's zoom in a bit. This was all based on the news about the what was it? The 18th of July, I think it was. It got cancelled. So what happened? The price retraced all the way down here, and look where it landed, the bull market support band, and look where it's bounced to. I mean, you can't draw these charts more accurately than I do, and I don't even do TA. But look where we are. What's happening is the lawsuit was supposed to be, I think, the 18th. The closed meeting it is. It's been pushed to the 25th of July, which I think is Thursday. Okay? The SEC want them to pay billions, and unfortunately, XRP want to pay $10 million. And guess what? They will meet somewhere in the middle, and my bet is $100 million. Why? Because it's a nice round number. It's more than 99 million, so it makes it a 9-figure sum. So the SEC can claim victory. Brad Garlinghouse can claim victory because $100 million is nothing to XRP. They'll pay the fine. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you will see all of those targets up there we have talked about. All these white lines that we have drawn are all going to be smashed. And we are likely to get to 130, I think. 130. We're at 60 cents. So you could double your money if it comes on the 25th. I'm not saying that's financial advice. I'm saying that that's my opinion. Look at what happened the last time we had any kind of nonsense like this. We went all the way up to 94 cents. So even if we do that, you're making 50% profit in probably a week, if it happens. So again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you the news. I did a lot of cleaning on my PC, yes. I have found a bug where Microsoft Edge was sitting in the background and it was just eating the memory. So what I do now is I close it down, and since then, and I've cleaned my PC, everything seems to be running fine. Right, 11:30, we've done 2 articles. We're not doing too badly for time. So then, Solana. Remember, try and stay one step ahead of the game. And what is the game? The game is trying to predict what's next, okay? It's not trying to predict what is now. What is now has gone. What is next is the key. We saw a massive run-up of Ethereum after the Bitcoin ETF went live. We are starting to see Solana pump. And why are we seeing Solana pump? Because Solana is next, okay? You know, when you see Mike Myers walking around the house and you've seen the young couple in one room and he's finished them off, and he goes to the next room and there's somebody sleeping and he finishes them off. You know what's coming, don't you? Because the mother down the road, she's the one that's going to get it next. And that mother is Solana. Solana ETF. It's been said before, we don't need the futures to get exactly, it's killing it. So the Solana ETF is coming next. There it is. Okay, it's $168 on here. I think we're up to $177. Let's bring the chart up. We're doing okay for time, so I think we're doing okay for time. I can spend a bit more time on this. If we overrun, I can always chop out one of the end articles. But again, look, again, we don't draw these charts, do we? We don't draw these charts. This is the same chart you saw on Friday. Where are we? This is the trend line that we have been on until, of course, we broke it all the way back to September. Almost a year, we followed that trend line, and then we wet the bed. We broke out of the downward channel. We wriggled around in the bull market support band. We broke the bull market support band. We smashed 154, which was price target. We smashed 174 price target. We're back at the bull market support band here, which is coming in at about 180. Not the bull market support, so the trend line. We're back at the trend line, which is 180. So what we need to do to keep going is, I think we need to come back up and kind of do this. But Solana, I mean, seriously, we're going to be at $200. We're going to be at $200, and you're all going to wish that you bought Solana. And I know some of you did. I know people like Peter, and I know Tariq and Mags, people. I know you've all bought Solana, and it's going to see you well. It's the retail blockchain. That's it. That's how you describe Solana. Don't have to talk about anything else. It is the retail blockchain. Is it going to $200? Pretty much. As long as there's not a market capitulation for whatever reason. You buy it when it's cheap. And when was it cheap? It was cheap when we were telling you when to buy it. I don't know if any of you remember. We were telling you down here, let's get to $50. We did. Let's get to $80. Sorry, $75. We did. Let's have a run at $100 with it. We told you every week the next leg up for Solana. Every single week. Had you bought, when you were listening to us from the very beginning, you would have bought an $18 or $20 Solana. You would have 10x'd your money in less than a year. And we are not sages, or we are certainly not wizards. It's just blatantly obvious what Solana was going to do, and it has done. So you've 10x'd your money in a year. It's as simple as that. It's not going to 10x from here. It will hopefully 5x from here, and then we're going to see, with the ETF money, maybe we see $1,200. Who knows? But it's going to go a lot higher. It's just not going to do the same multiples it has done. You have to remember, down here, when it was at $18, it only had an $8.5 billion market cap. So it's easy to go on this run when you are the third biggest blockchain in the world. But remember, it's now at 85 billion. It's not going to go to 850 billion. Going from 8.5 to 85 is only adding 77 billion. Going from 85 to 850 is 770 billion. It's not going to happen. Don't listen to anyone that tells you we're going to be at $2,500 on Solana by the end of this bull run. It's not going to happen. And if it does happen, and I'm wrong, I will be very surprised. Let's put it at that. Solana's competitors. At this stage, Polygon, Ethereum obviously, but Ethereum is more TradFi. AVAX maybe is a competitor. Obviously BNB chain is a competitor. but they don't have the buzz. They don't have the meme coins. They don't have the projects. How many competitors of Solana have got a Pyth or a Jupiter or an Orca or a Radium or a Bonk or Ponk? How many of them? They can compete with Solana. It's like you're looking at the greatest Brazil side of the 1970s, okay? Man for man, the best footballing team that's ever lived. Yes, you can compare them to maybe Argentina 2004 or 2008, sorry, with Messi. Messi would get into that Brazil side, but man for man, Brazil is going to beat them. Solana is Brazil 1970. On an individual case by case basis, there will be a bigger meme coin on another chain. There may be a bigger DEX, like Uniswap, for example, is bigger than Jupiter, which is an aggregator. So man for man, you can pick fault with Solana. It goes down. It goes down once a year. That's a fault. But when you look across the whole team, it's at this moment, it's unassailable. And that goes the same for something like Chainlink. They are unassailable. And that doesn't mean they're never going to be caught. When I mean unassailable, I mean unassailable between now and the end of this bull run. They're unassailable. Okay? In the future, maybe in 5 to 6 years' time, you could say Base is a direct existential threat to Solana because of the number of people being onboarded to it, because it's got its own DEX, its own meme coins, it's built on optimism, it's a fast Ethereum layer 2. So potentially Base in 6 years' time, 4 years' time, is a threat to Solana. Yes, not now. It's an unassailable, it's in an unassailable lead. For me, I would not bet against Solana in this bull run. And you've got to hold it now, from now until October. So I'm asking you to hold it for 15 months. And have I been wrong when I was telling you to buy it at $20? No, so far I haven't been wrong. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be wrong. It means so far the track record has been correct. That's what I mean. Ethereum is going to do massive, massive numbers, but it's got the BlackRocks of this world and it's got the Goldman Sachs of this world. It's a different, you're comparing apples and pears. It's what I was saying when I was talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Two different things. One's proof of work, one's proof of stake. One's a store of value, one is a internet computer, blockchain internet computer, smart contracts, DeFi. That's Ethereum's bag. Solana's bag is retail, meme coins, cheap DeFi, cheap transactions, mobiles, all that kind of stuff, which is retail. They're not the same. It's like trying to compare Couts to HSBC to Revolut. They're all banks, but they've all got different customers. So for me, don't fade Solana at all, even at this stage. We are likely, if the market holds and Ethereum doesn't dump us tomorrow, we are likely to see $2,000 by probably the end of July, maybe middle of August, in the next 3 or 4 weeks, certainly. And why? Because Ethereum will be live, the narrative will switch to Solana, everybody will go Solana heavy, and then we're going to be there. And remember, it doesn't take as much to move Solana as it does to move Ethereum. Ethereum moving up 50% from where it is now is adding 200 billion to it. Solana moving 50% up is only going to add 40 billion to it. It's easier to move a smaller cap coin. If you don't know about market caps, you need to go and understand what a market cap is. Maybe I'll make a video about it. Maybe I'll make a video about market caps and why I harp on about them all the time, because I do. But it's important to understand. So Solana for me should be in everybody's bag. If you don't own Solana, then we can't be friends. Let's leave it at that. We can't be friends. You can still listen to me, but I'm not going to send you a Christmas card. Right then, let's move on. Why do people overrate Uni when Aero is killing it with funds and performance? because people are snobby. That's why there is a lot of snobbery in crypto, and for such a new industry, people don't like to adapt. It's very simple. Aero, somebody the other day was saying, why use Aero when you can use Uniswap? Probably the same reason you don't go to the same restaurant every day, or you don't eat the same food every day, or you don't sleep the same way. If you're on base and you've got your wallet there and everything's in one ecosystem, then use it. It's the same with the Kronos chain. I use WolfSwap. I could use Abyssus Bay. I use WolfSwap. Why? Because I like it. But I'm never going to sit there and say, well, it's the only single DEX you can use on the Kronos chain. Or why do I use Jupiter? Well, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I use Radium. Sometimes I use Orca. You can't get set in your ways in a market like crypto. Uniswap could be shut down tomorrow. Aero is in a better, what's the word for it, jurisdictional position than Uniswap at this moment in time. Uniswap is here today. It could be gone tomorrow. It has lots of competitors. And Aero will eat its market share on base. Other projects on other blockchains will eat into Uniswap. The market is big enough for 20 DEXs. That's why I don't understand these people saying you should just use Uniswap. But we're talking about a global industry. You don't have a single player forever in a global industry. Chainlink at some point in the future is going to get a competitor. I know that, but at this moment in time, it's unassailable. So let's move on. Now, something which even Tariq himself, it might bring a tear to Tariq's eye. And that is that Litecoin is eyeing $100. Why is it eyeing $100? Because the $12 trillion gorilla that is Fidelity has decided it likes Litecoin. Look at that. Who would have thought a Litecoin article? They are few and far between, but they do crop up. The Litecoin price rally came to a sudden halt this week following the general bearish sentiment across the market after climbing from 56, peaked at 74. Noticeable drop in the futures interest mirrors the challenges bulls are facing amid attempt to defend $70 and a push to $100. The Litecoin Foundation on Thursday shared a statement highlighting that Fidelity Digital Assets had extended support for Litecoin. It boasts over $12 trillion in assets. Litecoin became the third cryptocurrency after Bitcoin and Ethereum to be accorded legendary support, exposing it to a large pool of institutional investors. Remember, we talk about de facto and de jure quite a lot. You have the best in class versus the most popular. Litecoin, for me personally, doesn't do anything, hasn't done anything for ages. But if institutions offer it within their funds, within their products, it doesn't matter what I think. Litecoin will become a success because people will go, I'm going to put 70% into Bitcoin, 25% into Ethereum, and 5% into Litecoin. And guess what? That will make the price absolutely rip. We're excited to share that Litecoin is now available to buy, sell, and trade through Fidelity Crypto. Litecoin is the third cryptocurrency to be offered by Fidelity, along with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now then, again, is this bullish news for Litecoin? Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? It's massively bullish news. And if you look at the price action of Litecoin, it is one of the older coins as well. It's got longevity. But where do we need to see it go? I mean, I've got my bull market support band. It's coming in at $82. I mean, let's go all the way back out. Let's just show you where Litecoin was in history. Litecoin ran up to $390. Now, I tell you quite a lot, not every coin is going to get all-time highs this cycle, okay? If you own ICP, it's never going to $2,000. If you own Litecoin, is it going to hit $390? At this moment in time, no, it isn't. Where would I like to see Litecoin go to? Well, certainly, if you look at this, you're looking at breaking $100, which funnily enough is the price target. Now the issue is, let's say Litecoin does do that and retraces. Lower high, lower high, lower high. Long term, I'm not bullish. But if Fidelity adopts it and there's institutional investment in it, or if there's appetite for it, more people will add it. So then of course it's going to go up. But we're running out of time. We've got 15 months left. Would buying Litecoin, I mean, that isn't such a bad sign. It's putting in higher lows. That's not a bad sign. Is buying Litecoin at $47 and selling it at $100 a good move? Absolutely. If you've bought it at 50, sell some of your bag at 100, take some profits for something else. So Litecoin can be traded, but would I hold it long term? No, I wouldn't. I'm not a huge fan, but buying at 73, selling at 100, that's going to give you a 35% profit if it happens, and it's likely to happen. It's starting to come back up. It has to break 81. It's actually about 81.50 now because it's come down. So $82, it's got to get back above $82 and then bounce off the bull market support band. So again, it's got to do this kind of move. And again, could that take us to October? Yes. And remember, in October, November and December, we should have some good months, especially December. We should see Litecoin hopefully break this downward line and hopefully break $100. If I was offered $120 Litecoin now, I'd snap your hand off and I'd sell it and I'd move on to another coin. That's just my opinion. And I know Tariq likes Litecoin and there are lots of benefits to it, but not for me. Not for me, but I'm going to cover it. The other thing about Litecoin, of course, is that Litecoin has a halving. It has a fixed supply. It has a halving. It has its halving outside of the sync with Bitcoin. So over a very long term, it will become less and less inflationary. And as more people adopt crypto, the entire crypto market should rise, but you have to be a noisy coin. You have to make noise in crypto or you're dead. And where's the noise from Litecoin? The noise from Litecoin could be Fidelity, Goldman Sachs, even BlackRock buying it. Maybe it gets its own ETF. Again, if it gets its own ETF, you'd be looking at $200 or $300 surely, because people are going to spread the wealth. You know, you buy into oil and gas and you buy a fund with 8 oil and gas companies in it, you're never going to go and study all 8 companies. You're buying it because it's oil and gas. If Litecoin is added to a fund, and I've said this before, you can see it coming, there is going to be a BlackRock crypto fund for layer ones. There's going to be a BlackRock crypto fund for DeFi. Maybe even a meme coin one, maybe I'm trying to think of another example, maybe an NFT fund. If there's a layer 1 fund by BlackRock, it will have Litecoin in it, more than likely. So that's how it appreciates in price. But as a project, not happy. Now then, Telegram is going to launch a mini app store with support for Web3 pages. Yeah, Tariq wants the Tesla, yes. That's right. Tariq wants the Tesla. And I mean, honestly, I'm sure if Litecoin goes to $300 or $400, I think Tariq would be able to buy us all a Tesla. And that would be a great moment. Well, no, I think his registration plate would be LTC1 rather than Crypto Warehouse. But I do want people to start calling their firstborns or secondborns after the Oracle. So Tariq's child could be called Oracle. I think that'd be nice and cool. Tesla plate would be Crypto Warehouse. I think so. BlackRock. Flux isn't a bad project. So Telegram is it's not, I don't like it. And I've said this before, I'm not a fan, but it is going to get adoption. on the opposite side of me not liking a coin doesn't mean you shouldn't go out and trade it. It just means I don't like it. So Telegram is going to launch an app store with support for Web3 pages. The mini apps run inside Telegram and can be linked for payments with 20 different providers. We're proud that Telegram is at the epicenter of this societal transformation. Big words. To keep the fire going this month, we will introduce a mini app store and an in-app browser with support for Web3 pages. We will also set up efforts to fight the scammers seeking to defraud new entrants into the crypto realm. Telegram will begin displaying the month of registration and principal country for public accounts. We will also allow organizations to use their mini apps to issue labels for channels, creating a decentralized marketplace for third-party verification. Again, my issue is that Telegram is going up against X. And X is behind. Yes, Telegram is ahead. But X has more people, it has more payment solutions. Both Telegram and X are trying to copy, I think it's called WeChat in China. They're trying to become the app of all things, all that kind of thing. So there's going to be a battle. My money would still be on X right now, but of course Telegram is more flexible. Thanks to more transparency and decentralization, Telegram users will know more about the opportunities and dangers of this new world. And of course, Telegram has its layer 1 ton. We know about what happened with Telegram wanted to launch Ton itself. The SEC said no chance, sunshine. So what the Telegram did was create the Ton Foundation and separated it off as a different entity. They have 900 million users. It's fairly big. However, not a fan. And again, I'm telling you because I do think it is probably going to do well, but I do think it's overhyped. I do think the price is overhyped. We're not even going to look at the price. We're going to move on. I haven't looked at Flux since I made the video. I think I made a video about it. And I think Tariq, I think Telegram revenue-wise is bigger than Reddit. Yes. Again, I don't like it. I don't think it's a top 10 coin for me. But there you go. Now, hopefully, like I said, hopefully Tariq buys us all a Tesla this week or next week when it absolutely rips to, I don't know, Tariq, what are you going to say, $1,000 for Litecoin? That would be what? A 15x, a 14x? Now then, this is a bit of a, I'm not going to call it a hippie-ish article. I'm not going to call it woke. I'm just going to tell you what the article is about. Zero energy storage may pave the way for eternal blockchains, which will, of course, burn the eternal flame. One of my favorite songs of all time. Recent advancements in long-term storage have opened up the possibility of creating digital ledgers that can store data for millions of years without the need for power. These are referred to as immortal blockchains. Decentralized systems could revolutionize data storage and ensure the preservation of valuable information for future generations. I'm not too sure that storing some NFTs is valuable information. There we go. At its core, blockchain technology operates on the principle that decentralized ledgers offer enhanced data security compared to centralized servers. In the event of a local power outage or server failure, decentralized blockchains remain unaffected as long as operational nodes exist elsewhere. That is the key. That's one thing. That's the one threat of Trump. Trump wants to bring... It is by the bangles, yes. It is by the bangles. And Trump wants to bring Bitcoin to America. I have an issue. Bitcoin shouldn't be in any country. It should be across all countries. There should be nodes in every country in the world. And in my opinion, they should be state supported. So each country should contribute to the upkeep of the Bitcoin network, in my opinion. And then each country should use it as part of its national reserve. Remember, when countries hold assets to support their currency, they're not always in dollars, they're not always in gold. They could be in oil, they could be in lots of things. I think Bitcoin may become 1 or 2% of the global reserve currency. Again, I don't have an issue with that. I don't think you'll hear about these doomsday preppers who say that Bitcoin is going to replace all the currencies around the world. And again, they're crackpots. They are crackpots. It will become a percentage of people's portfolios, a percentage of people's pensions, and a percentage of the National Reserve. It's never going to replace anything. Don't ever believe that. But this is important because every time a transaction goes through a blockchain, it has to be stored somewhere. And Filecoin partnered with a few of the blockchains. I think AVAX, as well as Google, and I think Solana as well has been partnered with. One such theoretical threat is a global blackout, where a natural disaster or an electromagnetic pulse could render electronic systems non-functional on a global scale. We reviewed this and made a video about it and came up with 5 ways you could kill Bitcoin. And not a single one of them is likely to happen. A global blackout would involve people going around flicking the fuse switch back on. So when you hear people say, oh, there's a global blackout, we'd turn the fuse back on. If we were hit by a solar storm from the sun, it would probably knock out the satellites, and that would take a long time to fix. But again, the idea of power going off for weeks and months on end globally is so infinitesimally small that it'd have to be a threat to human life. And then do we really need to care about Bitcoin? No, we don't. So let's not go to that extreme. What we do want to see is we want to see different ways of storing the information. If power was lost indefinitely, the fate of blockchains becomes uncertain. Are you reading what you're writing? Who wrote this? Absolute drivel. Okay, I'm going to call you Min. Right, Min. Let me just point something out to you, Min. If power was lost indefinitely, the entire world would go back to the Stone Age, or maybe even the Bronze Age. So do we really care about Bitcoin? No, because guess what? 98% of actual currencies around the world are all online. Only 1 or 2% of currencies exist in paper or metal form. So have some common sense. In the event of human extinction, what? Or the degradation of traditional storage mediums, most of our data would be lost. Millennia later, the bulk of our digital storage would be irretrievable. God, he's a cheery chap. DNA storage. You know what, I'm not reading any more of this. Basically, there's a way to store things and it doesn't involve power. That's all you need to know about. Let's not talk about the end of the world, Min, because it's very unlikely. We've had multiple extinction events on planet Earth over the last 20, 100, 150, 200,000 years. At one point, I believe we were reduced to about 2,000 mating pairs of humans. So there's only 2,000 families in the world at one point. So we were nearly made extinct. So again, it's very difficult to stop life from surviving, even in the harshest conditions. And I don't think we need to worry about Bitcoin, do we? If that happens, I mean, really, it's the last of our worries. I think being eaten by lions is the more important. Or if, in the case of Peter being chased and hunted down by kangaroos, hungry kangaroos. What? I can't read that out, but he actually is. What is older, Bitcoin or Litecoin? Bitcoin is the oldest cryptocurrency in existence, and as a major mainstream cryptocurrency. If you want to go further back, before Bitcoin, there were a group of futurists who, even back in the 70s, were talking about digital money, and they created a movement way back 50 years ago to talk about this. And then if you go even further back, and not even further back, if you go back to maybe the 80s and 90s, you did have, let's call it smart money. You had smart money that existed. But a blockchain with the mechanisms that Bitcoin has, nothing existed before Bitcoin. Litecoin was a fork from Bitcoin, as was Dogecoin. They were forks off the Bitcoin chain. Falling coconuts, 150 people a year worldwide. This statistic has often been contrasted with the number of shark caused per year, which is around 5. Exactly. What are you more scared of? Are you more? This is another interesting fact. Bank holidays put more people in hospital than any other event, because the bank holiday happens and the wife, invariably the wife, asks the husband to fix the curtain pole or, you know, paint the outside of the house or empty a gutter, and men being men, with no care or concern, will climb a ladder and fall off it and break ankles and break legs and things like that. So bank holidays are one of the biggest causes of injury, probably around the world, but definitely in the UK. At the next Bitcoin conference, there will be Michael Saylor, Trump, Musk, and more whales. It's going to be huge. Now, that's a really interesting point, Mags. And the reason that's a really interesting point is, if we started this channel 2 years ago, we did stuff in crypto since about 2016, but we started this channel 2 years ago. If you'd have sat me down and said, in 2024, we would have Robert Kennedy, Donald Trump, Edward Snowden, and the other people you've mentioned, they were all going to be at Nashville 2024, I would say that you were off your rocker, because the rate of adoption is faster than I expect. I am, believe it or not, very conservative. I don't give you outlandish predictions. And that may be the reason why we don't have 500 people watching us, because we don't talk about Doge going to $1, Bitcoin going to $1 million. And you know what? I don't care. If I can be honest and give you realistic targets, that's what I'm going to do. And I wouldn't have said that we would see anybody from any political persuasion at a Bitcoin conference for a few years, because it takes a long time to soak into the psyche of society. Now, in this bull run, what happens if retail don't come back? Remember 4 years ago, or 3.5 years ago, 3 years ago, when you were telling all your mates to buy Bitcoin and it was at $15,000, and a lot of them bought at $18,000, or sorry, they bought at maybe $69,000. Those same friends were probably not speaking to you by last summer, were they, when we were at $15,000? They had their hands burnt. What happens if retail doesn't come back? It's institutions that will drive this next bull run, potentially. And we don't need retail. It sounds crazy, but we don't. Retail and individuals buying crypto will not notice the Nashville conference. They don't care about Bitcoin. They don't care about it. They think it's a scam. But who will notice the Nashville conference? Every single CEO of a major company will know that 2 presidential candidates, Edward Snowden and Michael Saylor, probably Larry Fink and that crowd, will all be there. Where is the money in the world? It's with rich people and rich companies. And we are going to see probably a shift from retail to institutions. And I think it could be this bull run. We might not see your friends until we hit $100,000 or $200,000. And guess what? By that point, they're going to turn around to you and say, well, I can't afford to buy a whole Bitcoin. And then you're in a situation of telling them, well, you can buy a little bit of Bitcoin. You could buy 0.1 or 0.01. And what are they going to say to you? Oh, well, you know, what's the point if you can't buy one? So retail may be lost forever. We may never see them back. This channel may never get more than 148,000 followers because there's not enough people to push the channel forward. It might happen, but guess what? If it does go along the institutional investor type of buy, where people are buying 50, 100, 500 Bitcoin a time, there's only 2 million Bitcoin left in circulation. So at some point it's going to run out, And at some point, we're going to be at $1 million. And you might end up being one of the richest people you know, simply based on the fact that you had the cojones to stay the course. We might have lost retail forever. Most of my friends think crypto is like buying air. It is. But what you need to tell most of your friends is that 98% of the currency in their bank account is also air, because it's data on a spreadsheet. 98% of all currencies in the world are digital. And they're on spreadsheets, on ledgers that only your bank has access to. So if your bank crashes tomorrow and every single backup of your bank is deleted, your money is gone forever, because it was on a single ledger and maybe a few backups, and if it's taken down or if it becomes corrupt, your money is gone forever. It's lost because it's not on a public, decentralized blockchain. So there you go. Right then, it is 12:07. You are probably sick of the sound of my voice. So what I'm going to go and do now is going to go make a few videos. We are going to try and push forward with a few more sponsorships. I know I keep mentioning it to you. The Oracle is not live tonight. The Oracle normally streams on Monday and Thursday, but we have the Ethereum ETF going live tomorrow. So the Oracle will stream tomorrow night on Tuesday. Sing you a song. I tell you what, Peter, here's a deal. When we hit $100,000, I will go into the office, or the studio, should I say, with the Oracle, and I will sing you a song at $100,000. And I will never sing You'll Never Walk Alone, because that is the wrong side. That is from the wrong side. Let's just leave it at that. So I will not be singing You'll Never Walk Alone. That is a shocking thing to suggest. Anyway, I'll see you all in the morning. I think, you know what, Peter, you've asked me to sing a song. You're clearly inebriated. It's clearly 2 a.m. You need to go and get some sleep. Because if you actually heard me sing, we wouldn't have 148,000 fans. We'd probably have about 4 fans by the time I've finished the first verse. Anyway, take care, everybody. Have a great day. Remember to go and breathe, relax. I think this is the calm before the storm. I think the next week is going to be really choppy, up and down. Don't panic, buy the dip, take some profits, and I'll see you all in the morning. Take care.